That comic podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to That Comic Podcast. I'm your host, Meti, and with me as always are my wonderful sidekicks. First, Mr. Mashko.
Hey, can I kick it?
Yes, sometimes. And then there's Features.
Hello, Internet.
And then the horror historian, Bussington.
What's up?
See, it's so much better. It's like it leads us into the show. And then the other bright and smiley face you're seeing is a person who's here just to fight me. John, John, first off, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
If you don't know John, you might see frequenting Comic Universe, and he is our pseudo IT guy when it comes to us doing our live shows and when we do conventions and stuff. John's always hooking us up with equipment and making sure everything's running smoothly. And John just got out of Superman, and we never seemed to agree on anything. And as we said in my spoiler review, I wanted to hear what people thought who didn't necessarily like it, and I have a feeling that's why John's here today. Perhaps. So, I mean, we definitely want to talk, obviously spent a lot of time on Superman, as we said during our spoiler-free review, that was going to be the vast majority of what we talk about today. But we also have some news with Lanterns. Dexter finally came out, so we've got Dexter Resurrections, our first thoughts on that. Then we've got some weird Sony Venom news that feels like it's out of nowhere, but it actually might be older than we think. Plus, new X-Men line. X-Men seems like it's finally ending for something that might be a bit more interesting. Werewolf by Night. Always Sunny's back out. We got a bunch of comic reviews. I mean, this show it's stacked. It's stacked, and Superman's going to be taking the vast majority of our time.
I'll tell you what, before we get started, our friends over at Magic Mind hit us up.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
I found that to be pretty cool because I know sometimes we're a little sluggish on the show, and it's definitely a product that I think we'll all benefit from. I had a chance to have some of it about a couple weeks ago at this point, but I know our wonderful friend Features over there. Where are you at?
As he dips away.
Fishing for it.
I know sometimes you're feeling a little sluggish behind that mic, so we thought tonight would be a wonderful time for you to try that out. So you have that over there, Features?
Well, while he's cracking that open, it's funny, this conversation actually evolved. So I didn't even notice that Magic Mind was talking to Moshko, and Moshko was like, "Do you have an extra strength one for for Menti?" Because he drinks 2 cups of coffee before the show, and I can say that there was no coffee this morning, no coffee whatsoever. I had a single shot of Magic Mind this morning, and odd. It was definitely an odd feeling for me because I'm used to being a lot more kind of jittery almost. I think it's probably the best word for it. And it was a much calmer energy I had throughout the day leading up to our show. So, Features, did you try it?
I'm going to try it now.
Oh, let's see it. Here it is. Moment of truth. What is it got?
Live on mic.
It's got all the bees in it. It's got all the important bees and some turmeric. I love me some
Vitamin
turmeric.
D, some C.
Bottoms up.
There it is.
Waking up as we
There
speak.
it is.
And he's going to be very calm as he can't sleep later. We record this show too late for this much caffeine. But you know what's actually, for me, that is a nice thing because, as I say, I record this show with a cup of coffee pretty much every week. So this actually might not be a bad idea for me instead of trying to slug back 24 ounces right before I try to record at 9, 10 o'clock at night.
That's the max you have over there, right, Features?
Yes.
Okay, so there is a regular version, and then there's the max, which does have a bit more caffeine in it than the standard version.
Hold on, let me do that thing that they always do
There it is.
we've got cameras now. There you go.
Yeah,
it's the max.
Performance shot.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it is a mental performance shot, which is a lot better just because it does have a lot of different ingredients, mushrooms. It's got the lion's mane. I know we were talking about lion's mane as a Daredevil villain not too long ago. And it's got the cordyceps mushrooms in there too, and a bunch of other things.
Wait. The who?
The who?
The what mushrooms?
The cordyceps?
The Last of Us mushrooms?
Yeah, the Last of Us
This
mushrooms.
is how it starts.
Oh, that's the beginning of the show. Oh, got it.
Yeah, but what we'll do, there is a code for this for everybody that wants to try it. It's Comic Pod 50. So if you go and head over on to Magic Mind's website, we'll actually put a link in the description, in the comments, everywhere where you can see that. What we're going to do, Features, we're going to check back with you in a little bit.
See how you're doing at the end of the show.
See how you're doing.
That's a great idea. And another thanks to them. This was really cool of them to send this to us. So I'm definitely going to be spending many of my mornings now with lion's mane and turmeric over my coffee for a little bit. But thanks. Appreciate it, Magic Mind. That was awesome.
Turmeric, a lesser-known Daredevil villain.
All right, let's move on over to Superman. Let's talk about the star of the show, the star of the month, the star of the summer, and most likely the star of this year. I think this will be the most important movie of the year, regardless on if Moshkos thinks F1 is going to outdo it. It doesn't matter to me.
My thought precisely.
It doesn't matter to me. I know that's what he's going to say, but we know him in cars, and it was an unfair comparison any way you cut it. But now that we have other people on the show who we have no idea what they think, I want to round robin yet again. Features, we're going to sit this one out.
All right.
I want to just talk to Buzz. I want to talk to Moshko, and then I want to talk to John. So first, let's start with Buzz. Buzz, what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. I thought it played more like the peak of a storyline on one of the animated series shows. And I've always felt that like Superman is kind of for kids anyway. So I don't need like a real, for me, if it's fun, then it works. But, I can understand like it has some bumpy stuff going on there in the storyline. But like I said, I like the animated series and it kind of felt like that. So I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. I completely agree. All right. Now here's the one I was concerned about, and I don't know where he stands. Moshko, where you at?
It's not bad. It was a fun movie. It's not Casino. It's not Heat. It's not that type of movie, and it's not expected with Superman. But it was fun. I thought it was pretty well paced. I know a lot of people were complaining, or I've read a few things about that.
I complained about the pace.
I thought it was pretty quick. I thought it was fast.
Well, that's why I thought that was the
fast.
pacing issue.
Yeah, there were some missed opportunities for additional scenes. I think we'll get into more of it. I think they downplayed Lois in this. I think she could have had a much bigger part of this. But all in all, for the short review of it, it was okay. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Okay. All right. And now the person I know who's going to argue with me. John, where are you at?
Underwhelming is a word that comes to mind.
Okay.
Yeah, I also am a huge fan of the animated series. I grew up watching George Reeve. Obviously, everybody knows Christopher Reeves. I was a fan of the Man of Steel take. I recently rewatched Superman Returns, and that's a whole nother conversation. But I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't crazy about the trailers, but it left me kind of cold. It had some good aspects, but I feel like it was trying to be a lot of things, and it wasn't exceeding at any of them for me.
Interesting. So what was the part that left you feeling the most disappointed in what you saw? What was the part that was kind of the nail in the coffin for you?
Well, early on, I started to realize we weren't seeing enough of the status quo before it got disrupted. We didn't really get to see Clark more than a scene, because when he's with Lois, he's not Clark. He's that third kind of in-between persona. I felt like we didn't really see the public loving him before they lost faith in him all over again, which is a thing we've seen too many times in Superman movies. Everybody kind of turns on him, or they play the dark angle. He was very angry. I guess I wanted to see more of a setup of Superman doing everything, having acceptance before he was called into question. And I feel like we didn't get to live with the character enough before everything got upended.
So you would have appreciated even more, like another extra 30, 40 minutes of maybe a bit of more origin to the story, instead of the crawl that we got in the beginning.
The crawl was odd, the way they did it. It wasn't entirely out of the question. I don't want to see the origin again. But then they did things like the Superman robots and Crypto without any explanation that you could have worked into a quick rehash of the origin.
See, I don't know.
Credit.
I don't know. I didn't need any of that. I feel like it has the same aspects of storytelling going for it that the original Star Wars did in New Hope, where they didn't explain to you what a droid was. They didn't explain to you what a Star Cruiser was. You didn't
Sure.
know inner like how these characters are talking to each other. We don't need the explanation necessarily for everything, for the core of the story to get through, which was the story of Luke, and in this, the story of Clark.
Yeah, and I guess a part of me feels like we never really see the story of Clark. We see him at home a little bit later on with his wildly cartoonish parents, but I feel like we don't really see a journey with the character. We meet him halfway, and it was a strange trajectory for me to introduce, especially a new audience. I know you said like about it being for kids. I feel like it's not the best on-ramp for kids because it's a little complicated. It's a little dark at times. I would have probably preferred for it to be a little more kid-friendly, and that might have made it more appealing to me overall. But
wow, I didn't. You're the only take I've heard so far that says it's not kid-friendly. That's the there is definitely some middle fingers in there. Don't get me wrong.
Sure,
Guy is 100% definitely not the kid-friendly character.
Kids know what a middle finger is.
Yes,
they know that much.
Kids use the middle finger more than we do.
But I guess I just thought some of the language, some of the kind of sadistic like torture of the kaiju and things like that were a little the execution.
That's where I think
prison and things like that.
This is where you and I differ, because this is where the story is. The story to you is you didn't get enough Clark and Superman evolving as a character instead of Clark and Superman evolving the world around them. And that's more of, I think, the point of this story, which is to have an established world where Superman isn't the dad figure yet. He's still Superman year 1, year 2. We're still early in Superman's career in a pre-established world that is not prepared for a character like him that doesn't tell the same lines. So like the whole punk rock motif that they give, I love that they connect that to goodness. And I think that they do a great job in that because they show his spirit changes everybody opposed to him being changed. Because, I mean, that's the big plot point of Superman is absolute power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely, or power corrupts absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's not happening, obviously, with Clark, and we see that happen within this world. I think is probably the best stage we've seen it, because it is corrupting other people. As we saw with Guy, it was more about the spectacle of it. Yeah. Right. That's why he wanted to kill them. Because you're too old. You're too old school with that mentality of trying to save everybody. Like when he saves the squirrel, I know that's a lot of people thought that was too much. To me, that was like, you really wanted to nail Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, while he was saving that squirrel, a cinder block fell on a woman's head across the street, probably. But, I appreciate the effort. Yeah.
Can't save them all.
But I think the point in showing that is that his mentality into going into all of these situations is life first and above all else, which is the aspect that was missing from the society we were seeing. So even him involving the war and adding the war element to it. Now, usually I would say Superman is more of a, wagging his finger at both sides, and it's not as much of a clear-cut good guy versus bad guy scenario when it's Superman in politics. Mm-hmm. But that none of that aspect of the story bothered me. There was only really two parts that bugged me. One, Superman's parents. Yes. Not Mom and Pa. I am not on the whole. This is a slow version of Mom and Pa. That was a pretty accurate Mom and Pa to me.
Accurate.
They're a little overdone. They're a little over the top. But yeah, I think that's the James Gunn effect. And James Gunn has, I think, a really good track record of keeping certain characters as accurate as they could possibly be, and then playing with other characters.
Do you know the origin of that? What? Did you hear the origin? So Gunn called up Richard Christie. So if you know who that is, he's on the Howard Stern show a lot. He's the one with the very hey, I can't even do the accent. But what he did, he contacted him, and then Gunn then contacted his parents, Christie's parents, who are from, Middle America, that area. I almost want to say West Virginia, to get that sound. And they left, I guess, multiple messages, so he would have that tone and that dialect, and then the actors would then mimic that. So that's kind of where it is, where they went for that original sounding accent.
And let's not act like they weren't wise as hell.
Yeah.
They were cartoony to a degree, but the whole movie was cartoony to a degree, because I believe this isn't the best adaptation of Superman in just one form. I think it's an amalgamation of all Superman and all aspects of Superman that we've liked throughout all representations of Superman. That's why Buzz brought up the cartoon.
It's funny. These characters are so old that you have so many versions of them, and with every person that sees it, they're going to have a different opinion about it. It's a lot to take on to do the character, and everyone was predicting his failure before he even dropped anything.
Very true.
So the fact that there's good stuff being said about it and bad stuff being said about it is all good attention to the product that you put all this time and money into. If it was nothing but bad reviews, it would be a bomb completely, and then that would be not worth the time at all. So the fact that it's in the middle is like actually awesome.
I don't think it's in the middle. I think this is a pretty well received hit.
I'm being generous to the other side. I'm not saying.
I'm about to say, I think this is pretty much across the board, except for John here.
A little unfair, but
hey, I tried. I tried to give you the half on it.
I'm not. So, but no, let's. What should have happened, John, to make it a better world to create this story within? Because it's not just a Superman movie; it's also the introduction to an established universe that has already a deep-seated lore that I'm very excited to expand upon, which we couldn't get without this kind of somewhat bloated, fast-paced feel without making the movie 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Justice Gang is an interesting.
I didn't like Justice.
Yeah,
that joke fell a little flat for me.
But yeah, the idea, and I know there's different versions of Hawkgirl, but as far as I remember, she's also an alien. She's not a metahuman, but Lex specifically says Superman is more dangerous because he's an alien. Not
it depends on the one that you're. It's the version. Isn't there a version of her? I'm not a big Hawkgirl.
Well, that's what I said.
Isn't there a version who doesn't have actual wings, and that's the version this is based on?
But this one had wings, so I didn't.
Yeah, but I don't think. Are they connected to her body?
They looked organic. They didn't look like mechanical or some form of that. So I wasn't really sure where they were coming from. Yeah. But I thought Mr. Terrific was a surprise because he's kind of a character that, he's in the background of books. He was on Justice League Unlimited. He's not someone I ever read a story about outside of him, kind of manning the controls at the Watchtower sort of roles and things like that. So it worked better than Hawkgirl, say. Like, I didn't really know where she was coming from. She ends up murdering that guy, which is kind of a weird...
That was a funny line.
Weird take,
I'm not him.
So, like, are these, between her and, like, you could argue, was their interference in the global conflict worse than what Superman did? And then what are we really saying about the Justice Gang at that point? I know at the end the Flag and them say, oh, well, now they're calling the shots, and they kind of nod to that unchecked power. But I just found the role of the Justice Gang, I understood why they were there. They didn't really lean into the fact that they were kind of the funded Max Lord heroes, which I thought was going to play a better contrast against Superman trying to just be on his own.
Yeah.
That never really came up. I like the fact that they had the Hall of Justice building, but the fact that it was still a train station on the inside was very confusing to me, with the arrival signs and everything. I'm like, oh, they're using that train station. Oh, it's still a train station, But
look, not everybody can fly, all right?
But they all could. But
Green Arrow's got to get there somehow.
Yeah,
that's true. He'll get there. He'll show up. But I wasn't really sure if the movie was better for having them. They were clearly there to get the plot moving.
They were there
because
of James Gunn.
Yeah,
he flat out said those were his favorite 3 characters.
Could you have just had Mr. Terrific and served the plot exactly the same, though?
I think that there's a missing piece here, and I think that's the Authority, because the Authority was supposed to come out before this. And the Engineer being an aspect of the Authority, that probably ties in a little bit more with Maxwell Lord and some of the larger story elements that were kind of pushed aside. I don't know if the Authority project is still happening, but that was originally supposed to be after. Was it? I think it was supposed to be. Was it before Creature Commandos? I forget what the original announcement was, but it was definitely one of the first 2. Because we were all like, "Wow, Authority! That's an odd one to start."
So it's supposed to be a movie or a show?
I think it was a movie.
Supposed to be after
supposed to be a movie.
Commandos.
And it was supposed to be, and again, it was supposed to be setting up this world pre-Superman. So and it is weird for DC. Don't get me wrong. James Gunn takes a lot of liberties. So old school DC fans, I could see why they would be mad about this. Big movie buffs, I could see why they would be mad about this, because the meta-human story usually starts with with Superman showing up. Like, that usually is the thing that kicks off the whole meta-human aspect of DC Comics. So the fact the story is reversed, where metahumans and superheroes have existed for such a long time, that Superman is breaking the mold instead of being the standard, has a uniqueness to it that I love. And that's what made Clark more relatable. And that's also, I think, explains the things that most people are upset about. Like, I've heard a lot of people complaining about him getting mad that the dog was taken, right? It was when Krypto was taken and he's like, "Where's the dog?" And he throws he gets all John Wicky and throws the table, and everyone's like, Superman wouldn't have a crazy outburst of emotion like that. It's like, you're right. Old Superman wouldn't. Year one Superman might, if you took his dog. Yeah. Like, this isn't Clark who's quite found his footing yet. And I like that about it. Like, I like the speech he gave about being human and that he makes mistakes every day. And they did a good job of making a character I didn't really ever see as relatable, because he's more of an aspiration, someone to become more than someone to be like, right? As I say, the ultimate dad, where I think David Cornsweet nailed that. I think David Cornsweet made him relatable in a way that I haven't seen since Christopher Reeves.
Yeah. He had those moments where he was interacting with, the public, with just doing his kind of quick saves and montages around the city
and
stuff.
All the kids are happy to see him.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that certainly hasn't been seen in a while. They tried to, like I said, I just recently watched Superman Returns, and that fails at trying to do a lot of the same things this does. I feel like that is a movie that this should be directly compared to, more so than Man of Steel, because that one was trying to be,
I agree,
Christopher Reeves. And
well, I mean, it is, isn't it? Like, Christopher, it's supposed to be Superman 2, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah.
But everybody's 15 years younger,
which is weird, because Superman 2 did really well. Like, why skip that one? Shouldn't you do after?
No, it's supposed to be Superman 3.
It was a Superman 3, okay.
Yeah, but it's just, it misses on so many marks. But it has that airplane sequence, if you remember,
yes,
which I think is one of the best filmed Superman sequences of all time.
He's Christopher Reeves in that moment.
Yeah, and I mean, Lois is Lois in that moment, otherwise not so in the movie.
Yeah, it's true. It's one of the worst Lois, and I think this Lois is pretty good.
Yeah, I think this Lois was actually the highlight for me of the whole movie.
Really?
Yeah, I think
she's great.
Her casting was perfect. It was one of the few reasons I was initially interested. Like, oh, okay, that's a good call, You mentioned the animated series, Buzz, and I think Lois or Dana Delaney doesn't get enough credit, like she should, for like Kevin Conroy for being the definitive Lois. And I never really cared for Margot Kidder. I don't know if that's a hot take or not. I feel like she never was really a Lois like I ever read. Amy Adams is perfectly serviceable in those movies, but doesn't feel like Lois Lane in any respect.
Great take.
So I thought, okay, this is a real Lois Lane in this movie, and I appreciated that. And I wish there was more of her and Clark. That's kind of what I said about there not being enough Clark. I feel like their dynamic was the best of the whole movie. Their interview scene, although I thought his fuse was a little short, which kind of speaks to the dog scene, like you said. I like that idea, but I think it should have taken a few more questions for him to kind of lose his composure.
You're talking about in the first,
that opening in her apartment.
I heard that argument as well. Go ahead, Features.
So in response to that, right? I get that, because I put myself in that situation. Like, if Lois was asking me those questions, I just stopped a war.
Well, you're not Superman.
Well, no, I'm not. But had I did what he had done, I probably would have reacted the same way, because the overall thing that you're looking at is that I just saved a lot of people from very certain death.
Well, see,
why is that questioned?
I think you're hitting the nail on the head, but also missing it ever so slightly.
Okay.
It's not what she was asking. It was who was asking it. This is early on in their relationship. They really are really into each other. We just finding out that they're closeted about it, and they're in there. We see them making out in the kitchen. So this is a person that he's falling for, who he thinks her opinion of him is very important. At this stage, that's a very important aspect of their relationship, is what she thinks of him. And all of a sudden, he thinks he's doing her a favor, and this is going to be a fun little moment of, getting to interview Superman.
Yeah.
And then it turns on him instantly, and it's the woman that he's falling in love with, telling him, making him feel like he did something
putting
wrong.
him on his heels. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that scene at work where she's kind of bugging him about his writing and things like that. It didn't feel like, we all know from the trailers they already know each other. It's pretty obvious that was the route they were taking. And when she comes home and she hears a noise and she has the baseball bat, I felt like that was a lot of like, oh, Palpatine's the Emperor, like just kind of, we already know this stuff. Like there should have been maybe knowing glances. I wanted to see them at work kind of both playing this game of convincing everybody that he's not Superman. And I didn't, their chemistry didn't come till the next scene. Like I didn't find it in the planet scene. And I thought, well, that was a weird take to introduce her character, sort of thing. But I mean, she was, like I said, I think she was pretty solid. I don't know why she was flying a spaceship a lot, but she was really good.
The controls are intuitive.
Yeah, they seem to be, for the most part.
But that's also, I think, that's why I think that scene is so good, is because she's not sold on Clark yet. She's not sold on Superman yet. So she's not where he is. And that's why she was able to take those kind of shots that, that's why she was asking the questions like a real reporter. And he was thinking this is kind of a fun little moment. And it was not for her because she isn't truly invested, and she doesn't become truly invested until she sees how good of a person he is, not just hears the stories and reads the bad writing.
Well, I think that lends to what you were saying earlier about having like not so much watching the world affect Superman, but Superman affect the world. I think it was kind of a meshing of both. Like there was a change happening at the time, but we've seen not just from Lois' perspective, but you could pretty much use Lois' perspective as how the world was in terms to Superman. No one was fully sold on him yet, because if they were, the whole narrative of him being the way they paint
an immigrant.
Yes, I didn't want to say it. Yeah.
Why? He's an immigrant. Look, I don't care if anybody who's mad over the fact that Superman's an immigrant story is the wildest thing to me.
I know.
This is the stupidest take I've ever seen anyone. This drives me mad, and I'm usually pretty good about like hearing out both sides. This is not one I'm willing to hear out.
Did they use?
I agree. It is ridiculous, but that was where that world was, and he had to bring them to, he had to show them who he actually was in order to get them on the same page.
Well, I think it was the world power. World powers didn't see him in a good light, and that was mostly because of Lex. But we saw people were really coming around to him more than anyone else, and we saw that with the moment that the Justice Gang first showed up, and yet everyone was hugging and excited to see Superman and not them.
Yeah,
and that was the kind of the punk rock moment. This is this unknown underground hero that is not controlled by anybody, and yet everybody is more excited about them than what they're being given. And I think it's a commentary on superhero movies in general. I mean, you can take that in so many directions, that's why I think there's a lot more to this movie. But it is bloated and it is fast paced and it's hard to grab a lot of that. Like I really wanted to see another showing before recording this because I feel like it needs it because again, so much happens in every scene.
What? Yeah. And I still want to see it again regardless.
And you can argue that's a bad thing.
There's a lot of storylines going on in one movie.
Yes.
So like again, it plays like a part 3. It's like you would have, if you had a part 1 and 2, this would have been a great part 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, like which characters could you remove? Like, do you need the engineer, say?
Right.
Or is this the Ultraman Bizarro story its own story? Or at least not just a footnote on this story, that kind of thing.
I also feel like when you're dropping a big movie like this and you're Warner Brothers, there does come the merchandising aspect, and they're like, we want 6 characters. Like, before you have a script or an idea or a plot or a la, we want 6 characters in it. Like, that's kind of how they...
We need a ship.
Yeah, that's kind of how they start their conversation. And then it's like, Gunn has to, like, play within those parameters and make it seem like it was the plan the whole time.
I mean, I do think that 3 of those characters are there just because Gunn... Crypto, I think Crypto is 100%... James Gunn original idea because it's how he was able to break the story since it literally is his dog, but kind of just recoded to look like Crypto. And then obviously Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, and Mr. Terrific, just because those are his favorite characters. But one thing I did want to come back to is an aspect of the movie that I think is the most controversial. I think it's the easiest fixed, but it is my biggest problem with the movie. And I understand why they did it, but I didn't like it at all, which is the Kryptonian footage being found by the engineer and Lex to then uncovering what the actual end of the message was, which was take over by force if need be.
Yeah.
Well, here's my question when I was watching this. Was that actually the footage there, or was it produced via whatever, AI, to make that happen and seem that way.
That's why I say it's the easiest problem to fix. That's why I didn't complain, even when I didn't let it affect my opinion of the movie, because you can just say in another movie that Lex fabricated it and problem solved. His parents go back to being normal, and
They didn't really wrap it up.
no, it was a throwaway line to try and make Superman. It's to try and make Superman look bad, which was what Lex was doing the entire time. So to assume it's not fabricated, I think is weird.
Well,
we will find out.
It immediately worked. Everybody immediately turned on him in the street in an instant. Same way they did on Lex at the end, actually. They're like ripping signs up and the news report's still airing. Like these are people that he saved. Superman has saved these people. They all know who he is. He's been around for a few years. And nobody, especially in today's world where we're questioning everything you see on the internet, goes, I don't know about that. Doesn't seem like that's not right.
Well,
Nobody
Move the
investigates.
story along.
Yeah.
Move the story going.
Let me ask you a question, John. What things are you willing to forgive in a comic book that you're not willing to forgive in a movie?
I mean, it's a good question because I'm starting to feel like I don't. A comic book movie for me has to bring more movie. Like straight adaptions of comics don't so much work for me. The more comic book it's like, it seems a little less appealing to me. That's not to say I need everything grounded, but yeah, some things seem a little ridiculous or they don't take enough time in the same way like animation can. Animation could power through this very same story, and I probably would have liked it more than it having the weight of being a live action launching of an interconnected universe. I mean, things that were a little too much for me, maybe the Pocket Universe was a little bit of a wild concept to introduce.
Yeah,
in
but
this.
Superman's always going to Pocket Universe.
I know. I mean,
Like,
Superman
always,
could be
like, every
very,
arc.
very cosmic. And I knew we were going to get a more outrageous cosmic tale. But like I said about it being so many movies, I never really understood Lex's fascination outside of the very little dialogue they pay to it. Obviously, we know Lex is always kind of fascinated with him and threatened by him.
Oh, I thought they nailed that.
Yeah.
I thought Nicholas Hoult might be the best Lex we've ever seen.
I
Well,
think he is.
I'm not saying there's a better Lex that's been done yet, but I feel like I prefer an older Lex. Maybe something feels more like the comic to me. I like that he was super smart. You know, there was aspects of him I liked. Spacey was a terrible Lex. Hackman was a comic Lex.
Well, Spacey was Hackman.
Yeah, but he
does his best.
Poor
to try,
man's
he does
Hackman.
his best to be Hackman.
Poor man's
Yeah, I mean he was Dollar Bin Hackman,
Yeah.
but he was still
Dollar
Hackman.
Bin.
yeah, spoiler, he does not do his best to be Hackman. He is very dry in that movie. And Eisenberg is just an Elseworlds
Well,
Lex.
we don't need to bring that.
No, I
up.
just
We don't
mean
need to
he's
bring up- he's the Riddler.
you can take
No, he really is. That's what he tried to be the Riddler. That's what he thought he was auditioning for, and they gave him the role, and then he didn't change how he acted as the Riddler.
but he's
I'm
like
not making any of that
a totally
Wonder
different
Woman thought
take
she was
on it.
going for Catwoman. Like none of them knew what they were auditioning for when they got their roles.
But I guess in the same way that I've never seen Peter Parker on screen in all these iterations. The Peter Parker, when I read him, I've never seen in live action. I feel like I haven't really seen the Lex I think of yet. And
So this is not a failure of the movie as much as it's a failure of your expectations to cross the threshold of comic to cinema while still being accurate enough to both.
no, it's just and I'm not interested in really comparing this to Man of Steel because Man of Steel is a reaction to Superman Returns in the same way Begins is to Batman and Robin, and then this is a reaction to the Snyderverse. And I think when people think about the sour Superman of the Snyderverse, they're thinking of Batman, Superman, and Justice League more so than Man of Steel. Because I think Man of Steel, he's a lot more hopeful and earnest in that. And that gets lost, especially when they kill him and then they jump into that storyline way too quick. So I'm not saying that's a better movie by any means. I mean, to personal taste, I prefer it. I think so. But like, I'm not saying that's going to be everybody's taste. But that is a departure from the comics that just kind of brings a different shade. And this is here's everything you like from the comics, from the old movies, from the cartoon. You're going to like some of it. Some of it's not going to work for you, but it's going to move so fast, you're going to just be on to the next thing, so who cares? And I just kind of got frustrated as we were hitting past the hour mark of how many things were
But
being thrown at me.
It's kind of only possible to work now. In no other year would this movie work.
No, it's very
It
much
has to be 2025
of right
for this to
now.
work.
Yeah.
There's no. This movie is too comic booky to have worked at any other time period because, as I said on our last review, every movie we've seen up into the end of the MCU was usually trying to taper off the comic book craziness to make movie-going fans appreciate the story. X-Men couldn't have their costumes, right? MCU had to be genre-specific films. Movie-going audiences weren't ready for comic books, and Ang Lee was the nail in the coffin when Hulk came out, and they were literally moving panels to transfer or to scene transitions. They were going panel to panel. It's too much.
I had a work print of that Hulk movie, and he didn't have his pants animated for a lot of the sequences. that was a fun cut of that movie. Yeah.
It's my favorite version of the movie.
Great version. Great Hulk.
But that's what I'm saying is that because it took all of comic book movies to get to a point where we can have the most comic book movie I've ever seen be a wild hit across the. I mean, it's across the world now, right? I mean, it's international, right?
Yeah, it's released everywhere, worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for the character, even if I don't like the film. Like, it's nice for Superman to be back in the conversation. It's nice for DC to be back on sure footing after so many failed movies when there's so much potential in all those properties. But it wasn't my taste of a Superman movie. And I understand that part of that is me, but I also think part of it is it was too many movies at once. I found myself really trying for the first half to be more giving with it, and then I forgot at what point I just kind of said, I don't know if I like this, and I went with my wife, who likes everything Superman, who watched all Lois and Clark 3 times and the Superboy '80s show. She just loves Superman stuff all the time, and I was looking over at her, just progressively crossing her arms more.
Oh, she didn't like it
She
either?
wasn't crazy about it either. No, we both just kind of. And I wasn't trying to bait her. I waited till the very end, and we walked out, and I kind of said, "So, what did you think?" And she was not kind to it. So
her name's not Nancy by any chance, is it?
No, it's not.
No, it's not Negative Nancy.
But no, it wasn't fun to her. I think it wasn't. I think she liked the Superman and Lois show that you like.
Oh, so good.
She liked Lois and Clark. She likes all the the corny to the
So
Arrowverse.
it's the comic booky. It's all the comic bookiness. It's that's the part. That's the part that is dividing people more than anything else.
I mean, she's more forgiving than I am, I guess. And I was surprised how much she also didn't like it. So that was, and I'm actually, to show my hand a little bit, it was the first James Gunn movie I saw in its entirety. I didn't see the Guardians movies, and I only saw half of Suicide Squad because I didn't like that either. So I was really hoping to be turned around by this, but it didn't work for me. So it's just not for me.
Movie.
Yeah. I should
not
hope
his best
not.
movie. It's one of his best. Well, but see, this is a thing of taste. I can't stress enough how I had the complete opposite experience. Like my jaw was on the floor. I was like looking up at the theater wide-eyed at how well they were pulling off something I didn't think was actually capable of being done in the movie theater. And look, we all laughed at this book at the shop recently, this giant-ass Superman book, right? This giant-ass Superman book opens up with him leaving the planet and other people having to step in, and it's a very convoluted opening storyline that's very much trying to set up a much larger story, which is what this movie is trying to do, and that's very much a perspective I think that needs to be added to the conversation, similarly to when you're talking about Days of Future Past for X-Men. You can't just say it's a movie. It is a movie that is trying to connect two different franchises. It's a movie that's trying to correct mistakes of the past. It's a movie that the amount of things it's trying to accomplish makes it a masterpiece just on that alone to me.
It's also the last good X-Men movie, because despite them finally getting their comic accurate costumes in the later movies, that does not improve the later movies over the ones where
he's
they
not
wore
wrong.
leather.
Don't open your eyes, Features. He's not wrong.
What
do you think an apocalypse is better? Like, what do you say?
No,
is
that
better?
was the magic mind kicking in.
The magic mind kicking in.
No, I actually think that kicked in a little bit ago. I'm actually like, I'm.
Are you calm?
Very, but also
Very.
like very
I'm
calm. But
in.
I'm here. I'm like alert though. I'm like,
What do you mean you didn't like Superman?
All of a sudden, he just shows up in John's screen. Just
Yeah. What about
kidnaps him again.
Crypto? He's smashing against the wall.
That would be awesome.
Crypto was great. Crypto not being Superman's dog was a little interesting. I thought that was. I think that should have been the post-credit scene.
Well, you know, that was two moments that I thought were tells very early on that that Ultraman was a clone when he can get into the fortress,
yeah.
and when he says it's like he's fostering the dog, I was like, oh, Supergirl's going to show up. And I didn't know if it would be in the movie or they were going to just explain it because she's the next movie. But I felt like they were very obvious, like especially the Ultraman, that by the time he takes the hood off, it's not important anymore. And if Lex had somebody who looked like Superman and he wanted to mess up Superman's life, aren't there ways to use him to frame Superman?
He was too dumb to control. Remember, they were having a problem. That was the original goal, but he couldn't get it to do it right.
Yeah.
So do they control the super suit with the computers? Because when he doesn't have the suit on later, they're still controlling him with the computers. I didn't understand that.
Well, I don't think they're controlling him in a way that they can actually get good media footage, if that's what you're getting.
No, I mean when he was
just
fighting.
too slow and
You're
angry.
saying like F7 and he would throw an
When he was
F7
playing
punch.
Battleship.
Yeah.
Oh, right, when he's
yeah.
playing Battleship.
I think he's
Right,
giving
right,
him chess commands.
Yeah, in the
Yeah, it
beginning,
must be
I
the
thought
suit.
it was the mech suit, but then later in the movie, he's not in the mech suit. So.
But see, like even this, like, so there's a lot of people I've seen upset about the fact that it's Ultraman and that it's the clone and that they're kind of merging a bunch of different storylines from a whole bunch of different things. The clone story is something that happened in the comics. It also was bad. Right? He didn't turn out to be anything special, and he kind of gets forgotten about real quick.
Yeah.
But it was the same exact story. I just know that they didn't care. Obviously, not doing the Crime Syndicate, so they were like, all right, just throw Ultraman's name on it. I don't necessarily like the fact that they decided to merge those characters, but this is one of those times where I'm saying that James Gunn's pretty good at knowing what characters can be adjusted slightly and what characters can be have to stay as accurate as humanly possible.
But he
'Cause
gets
let's
yes.
act like the Guardians are accurate.
But if he gets
Yeah,
sucked
yeah.
into the pocket universe, which that's more implied than he was killed, because we see people rescued from the pocket universe at the end, so it leaves it open for him to return. But
Yes.
in what form? If he's not controlled by Lex, what is this? How's this
Well, he didn't
character
get
to
lost
come
in the
back?
pocket universe. He went through a black hole. So let's just hope that he survived the black hole. We don't know if Superman would have survived that. And they keep saying this is an underpowered Superman. Like, everyone keeps saying that. Did anyone get that impression? Because I sure as hell didn't.
He
He
didn't
was
feel
on
underpowered.
the
to me.
defensive
He-
a lot.
Dude, he blew himself out of a black hole.
Yeah.
At the end,
He
I mean, I think people are more.
Yawned out of a black hole.
Yeah. I think I brought that up on the spoiler-free review. It was like
No,
it
you
was
didn't.
It was a very subtle use of how strong he was.
Well, I think that was
definitely
the
did not bring that up
only
on the spoiler.
I did.
progression.
I thought I said that. Oh,
It was a spoiler-free review. If you would have brought up the ending of the movie, I would have lost my mind.
no, not the ending. I'm talking about when he breathed his way out of the.
Yes, you would not have said that on a spoiler-free review because that would have been a major spoiler features.
Okay.
The Magic Mind is doing issues to you.
See, I took that as showing the progression of his strength throughout the film, because now he had the baby in his arm, he had Crypto. It was like he really had to make this work. It awakened his power even more, like he was kind of coming into his own. That by the end, we're supposed to see him as more of a fully formed character than when we meet him and he's bleeding on the ground in the beginning of the movie. But I also wonder if having no glimpses of that global conflict till it happens again at the very end of the movie hurts the whole argument in the beginning of his interference. Like, we don't even see that obligatory news footage of Superman interfering, and to kind of see what the scale, if he was fighting this guy in Metropolis, how did he land in Antarctica? Like, you can't really get a feel for what that fight he was involved in was, and you get.
Well, maybe he didn't land in Antarctica. He could have just been running away, because I would argue this is the first time he's ever been punched by something that can hurt him.
Well, it was weird for them to say that he lost his first fight because the fight wasn't over. He got up and went back to the fight. You know.
Oh, it's over. When you run away, it's over.
Yeah.
Well, no, but he
you
that
live
was-
to fight another day. It's
that
kind of
was
like the
round
whole
one. You lost.
but he just
may-
seemed like he got back to Metropolis pretty quickly. So I didn't know if this was
Well,
the
yeah,
same.
he got
the
blasted
same
by the
day. Like, was this guy still in town while Superman was healing, blowing shit up, and then he shows back up?
Yes, he was.
So that's what I mean. It was kind of a continuous fight. Like, so I just thought the phrasing of him having lost his first fight when the fight was ongoing was an interesting phrasing.
Well, I think the concept of losing his first fight again is because he was probably, we don't know this because obviously it wasn't part of the movie, but I'm assuming that fighting a near perfect clone of himself is the first time he's ever actually come up against something that can do damage to him. So it was the first time that he's ever had to fight somebody, and there's a chance he's not going to win. He can't look at the fight like that was a Man of Steel moment. Like, 'cause that was a moment like, I'm going to have to kill this dude. You know what I mean? Like, there was no way he was going to win that fight with the mentality that he had, which is why that fight taking place in the Pocket Universe was so important and allowed for him to be a bit darker than he normally is, seeing as how he's like, he was Mr. Terrific said, anyone who touches that antimatter river or whatever dies instantly. And he's like, I'm going to drown this man in this river.
How do you feel about how many of Lex's people he killed, both in the Pocket Universe and in that last scene with his laser vision? Because a lot of the talk about him killing Zod, he certainly didn't
Would you
let all those
argue
people
that
off.
he killed them or that Lex killed them?
Well, that's a loophole for sure. But
Is it? Because he didn't build the pocket dimension, and Mr. Terrific knew instantly that this was a mistake that let's all know that Lex would be aware of as well.
well, when he was in Metropolis, surrounded by them, and he just lasered them, and they were falling to the ground like bugs.
But then they all got up.
If you know, yeah, they were
Yeah, I
all
don't-
moving on
they
the
were-
ground.
They
Yeah,
show
I
you.
think
They
he-
show you them like.
Yeah, they were just wounded.
That was
Just
kind of
took-
a
took them
team
out
of
commission.
them, though. I mean, that was some. I mean, they did that, but I feel like they couldn't all survive. There's no way he didn't hit one of them in the face when he was just whipping around in a circle.
I feel
that.
like you're underpowering Superman a little bit here. I think yes, he absolutely could. I
Well-
mean, it's Superman. This is the guy that we compare everybody to. This is the end all be all of characters. I think he probably could. He has X-ray vision. He can tell. He can control the intensity of the blast. I mean, there's a lot of ways that he can figure out whether or not he's killing them. He can hear all their heartbeats.
Well, that's true. But I was just wondering if he felt reckless to anybody else, because he felt a little reckless to me in those moments, because he was very emotional.
If he was on the floor, like if he was nailing buildings at the same time, but above the skyscrapers, and it wasn't like. It wasn't. I would argue that, and I agree to an extent of the point that you're making, because I said this about Man of Steel. I'm amazed that the fight took place in Smallville, or in Metropolis. I feel like he would move the fight elsewhere, like instantly.
Yeah.
And in this, because it was such an overwhelming force, there was no taking it elsewhere. He had to gain control again because he was not in control at that point. That move is what allowed him to be in control again, to make sure people don't die.
You could play the Batman Superman argument also that the city was evacuated by that point, so there was less possible collateral damage. Not said outright, but
Comic booky
implied.
hand-waving.
Yeah, exactly. But
Did you see no one was going left to Gotham there?
yeah, I saw the Gotham sign.
I saw the sign.
That was the most restraint they showed in the movie, was how short you saw the Gotham sign for.
Everything the light touches is
There
Metropolis.
was one thing that came up that I kind of questioned that we're talking about. He mentioned something about it's not going all the way to the city that I care about. When I guess the whatchamacallit
earthquake.
was opening up, and he said he'll stop it before it reaches the city that he actually cares about. Lex said this.
Yeah. Now, I was curious
What
about
city
that
is-
line.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
question. It's a good question. Oh, hey, all we know is Superman 2 is apparently not what we think it is. Maybe that's what it goes into. Maybe we learned about this other city.
We got to get that password that stops earthquakes, though. That's pretty good.
But okay, we do need to move on at some point here but I could talk about this for another 3 hours. The movie is so good at hand waving comic bookiness that it literally has an army of Twitter monkeys.
Yeah.
And nobody cared. No one bats an eye at that scene at all, that he has super intelligent monkeys writing hateful comments about Superman, and it fit. It worked. It didn't make me, at no point did I go, that's ridiculous.
Well, because by that point in the movie, you were, oh, that's how ridiculous this movie gets.
Yeah.
And that's why the robots are so important in the beginning.
Can I ask one question about the robots? Why is it just K2SO? Why couldn't they use a different vocal process on him or something? I know it's Alan Tudyk, but he plays the same beats of like emotionless. Like, you could have just processed the voice differently. He's just playing the K2SO character. And
When you hire Morgan Freeman, do you ask him to change
Right.
his voice?
Yeah, it's K2SO. K2SO voice because it's working and it's selling in other things. There's no point.
No
in changing
question.
it.
That's why they did it.
I don't know.
Because they
And-
want you
and
to
that's
go,
why the
no
script-
way, is that K2SO?
Right, and that's why the script's all over the place because there's so much money involved. There's so many people being like, it has to have this, do this. It's not just James Gunn like by himself. There's so many people that were like, you have to do this, you have to do that, and so you get all this crap. You got to make it work somehow, and that's why it doesn't work because there's all these people being like, put this in it, put this.
Well,
in
and that's
it.
also why it took him forever to write the script, remember?
Yeah, there's too
Remember
many people that are like going over it. You're not seeing the behind the scenes for sure.
He kept
Yeah.
saying he couldn't crack the script. He couldn't figure out the script, and it was a moment with his dad, wasn't it? I forget.
Yeah,
the
he said
full
something
story.
like
It was
that.
the moment with his dad. I forget what it was, but that's what made him that, and the dog. The fact that his dog is just untamable. That he was like, well, how funny would it be if there was a superpower crypto, and that apparently led him down the path with this thing that happened with his father that led to the story being written. And I think that thing is don't change Superman, change the world. And I think that's the story. I think the story is Superman's so punk rock, he changes everyone to be better. Which is crazy because that's not necessarily how you think of punk rock. But I love the fact that they use the punk motif to redesign, to contextualize what Clark means to Metropolis and this new DC universe. That he is the outside force, even though you would assume him being, the main character.
Right.
This is good. Here we go, John. I got you. Here we go. Agree to disagree, buddy.
I appreciate a lot of the things it was going for. I feel like it walked up to some interesting conversations, but didn't complete them. Like his interference in the conflict. I don't think they really closed that argument. I liked things about it, but for me personally, not as someone who's read Superman for 30 years and watched every other iteration for it, it's just not my favorite take. It was just loud and kind of draining, and it was just a little much. It was overkill in a lot of ways for me. That's to my personal taste.
I'm so sorry that you're dead inside.
Yeah. Hey, me too, bud. I wish a movie like this
get that
could
every
cheer
once in a
me
while.
up, but it's
Well,
not that easy.
look, and I feel bad for everybody that didn't have the experience I did. I'm for real. If the negative aspects of this movie were enough to bring it down and not make it enjoyable, then I'm sorry, because there was too much good in it. There was too much fun. There was too much excitement to hyper fixate on aspects of it that didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably focusing on specific things just as talking points, but overall for me, it was the whole vibe of it just kind of didn't work. Like I said, I'm talking personal taste.
Well, that's the show in a nutshell.
Yeah.
You argue personal taste here, pal.
So, it's like I said, I'm happy for it to be successful. It's just not my flavor of Superman. He might be better in the next one, and I'll like the next one more, but it'll be hard to get me in a theater for it unless I really hear good things. So, that's me. I don't watch all the
That's
superhero
cool.
movies anymore.
You can be the only other guy in Times Square that's protesting with the Snyderverse people. You're good.
No, see,
good.
and I don't want to be painted as some Snyderverse person.
No,
But yeah,
No, just a little.
I just if I held them side by side, I find the other one a little more rewatchable for me. I like kind of the hard sci-fi aspects of it. I thought he actually felt alien, which he never really does. I liked how
That's the point of the
alien.
story.
No, I know, but I mean, he felt. They leaned more into him feeling like an outsider, obviously, in Man of Steel than they do in any other iteration of him. And I thought that led to some more dramatic stuff. I like the controversial take on, the father. I appreciate how destroyed he was that he had to kill Zod.
You're not doing a good job of trying to not make yourself sound like a Snyderverse person.
No, I mean, that movie's not bad. I think
bad.
everything comes apart
not bad.
after that. I think that was a good start for that.
I agree.
So I just, I'm not rushing to rewatch that either. I just, I just saw
But
this today and it didn't blow my mind by any means. So that's where I'm
Well,
at.
for all of you that listen to the show that are excited about things, I'm so sorry about John.
I didn't come here to be mocked.
Yeah, but you stayed. No, I mean, this is one of those times where there's not much else you can say besides I wish you enjoyed it more. I'm sorry you didn't, and I'm happy that what I saw and what I liked is going to continue. And sucks to not like it because this is going to be what you get for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't suck for me because now I don't have to watch them the same way I don't watch the Marvel movies.
Well,
anymore,
see
so.
now, but would you watch Clayface?
I would watch Clayface because it's an interesting standalone movie. The guy that was writing it said he's based it on the Feet of Clay stories from the animated series. You know, I want to see the potential of that, see who they cast, you know, hear a little more about it. That sounds more interesting to me, a standalone horror movie that's not really, you know, I like the potential of the new DC universe to do stories that aren't necessarily interconnected and do standalone genre pieces like that. And yeah,
Like the beginning of the MCU.
Somewhat. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a post-credit scene in Clayface where the Joker, you know, comes in.
No, they'll just
recruits
end the
them.
movie with it.
But but yeah, I mean, like that's the thing I'm more interested in seeing is the kind of one-offs that happen along the way. But as of right now, this launching of the main universe didn't get me excited to see a Justice League movie, say. But yeah, I'd see a Clayface movie. That sounds possibly interesting.
So you're not out of the DCU. You're out of anything that's too bright.
No, it's not even just Gunn or just... I just didn't care for this movie.
Like, are you going to watch Lanterns?
Well, possibly because it looks like to be a whole nother vein, a whole nother take. Something that like the Penguin show, you know, something that was just so different and interesting that it'd be worth checking out. So
Okay, I get it. Because I find it so funny how you're saying, like, I read Superman for 30 years, but I didn't like this. But it is that you're looking for a different take. You're not looking for a take that you've been reading for a while.
I guess I don't necessarily need to see everything I like about Superman in live action. It kind of loses something. I think some things work as comics. They also work in animation a lot of the time, but they don't always work in live action for me.
Well, here's a sentence that we've said on this show a bunch of times, and I think Moshko said it once. I think Features has said it once. This is everybody's first. This is somebody's first Superman.
Yeah, and to that effect, I wish it was a little more friendly to younger audiences because I think it would be a good first Superman for people, but it definitely is a little brutal at times. The execution of that guy, you know, the torturing of the kaiju.
Well, they connected it to Star Wars, and that's for 12-year-olds, and they disembowel people. So.
Yeah, but it's a little more fantastic than a guy on his knees with a revolver to his head when it's like a lightsaber cutting an arm off or something. So
Or a head.
Yeah.
I mean, Yoda decapitates 3 people.
Sure, I mean Yoda's a champ, but you know, it's. I guess I thought it was going to be a little. When I heard it was corny, it was like an early criticism. I was like, well, I didn't really see that. That wasn't like a heavy tone to me. Like I kind of went in thinking, oh, maybe it's a little more kid friendly. Maybe this would be good. This is a bright way to introduce.
It is. It's 12-year-old friendly.
It's more like 16-year-old friendly. You know?
I disagree. 12-year-old friendly.
It's PG-13.
I'm staying where I'm at. Agree to disagree. We're going to do this. All right, let's button this up because I know you got to get moving, and I want to hear any last-minute takes. What was everybody's like? That was an interesting question for John. Are you guys excited for Justice League and for this part of the DC universe to continue and broaden? Let's start with Buzz.
I'm going to watch it all. I mean, I grew up with the characters. I like them. Am I going to love it all? I'm not even really that concerned. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just here to watch the stuff, enjoy it, and see what it does. And if it doesn't work, you know, move on to the next one.
Enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
Don't hate it for what it's not.
I'm not holding it up like it's, you know, it has to work or we all die. You know what I mean? Like, it's just comics.
But I might. All right, Features.
I am very excited to see what happens next in the DCU, and it's because of the Superman film. I went into it with like not high expectations. I just wanted to see what Gunn was going to do. I had faith in him, and he pulled through for me. Sorry, John. I don't
That's
know
fine.
why it didn't work for you. But just off of how the Superman came off alone, it makes it gives that much more hope. It makes me much more hopeful for everything else.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, and here's arms crossed, Saint Steve over here. What do you feel in Moscow?
It all depends on the writers and the directors of the upcoming movies. That's what it'll come down to for me. I don't necessarily need to see everything, nor do I want to see everything. If it's along the lines of Superman, then chances I'll end up seeing it. I might not run out to the theater immediately to see it though.
Like, are you more excited for Supergirl now?
I like what
I'm
the
stoked.
Yeah.
the 2 minutes she was on screen. I liked what I saw.
I liked the way they represent her, and I like the fact that Crypto is going to be like the Coulson.
I think Supergirl has a chance of being a better movie because it doesn't have the weight of this movie. It could tell a story that isn't trying to do too much, and I'd be interested to see how that comes together.
Well, then we'll have to have you back.
But if I like it, you ain't gonna let me back on.
yeah, that's right. He's gonna go, I loved it. Well, that's the last they're gonna hear your voice.
It'd be crazy if John loves it, but we all.
But then you all hate
for some
Supergirl.
reason.
Yeah, I think that's the joke. It's a shame that we talked about this while streaming because it would have been great to just do that as soon as he popped on. It was trash. What'd you think?
Oh, I love that Supergirl, man.
All right, John. I appreciate you so much, dude.
Thanks for having
coming
me out.
on.
I appreciate it.
I'm sure we'll see you at the shop soon, and let's definitely get you back on when Supergirl comes out.
All right, sounds good, man. Take it easy,
Later,
guys.
See you, bro.
All right, since that took way too long, I'm going to round robin and rattle off some of these real fast just to get them out of the way. Number one, Lanterns. Nathan Fillion said that he has said more F-bombs in his little bit in that show than he has in his entire career. I love that. The idea of a Lanterns that's a bit more adult sounds phenomenal. Any thoughts, takes, gentlemen?
I feel like if he's Guy Gardner, there should be F-bombs, so I'm on board with this 100%.
Yeah.
I liked him in the role, and I would definitely check out like what else they might do with him, for sure.
I like the idea of an established guy and establish Hal, and then focusing on John for this, and then later on you can bring in Kyle and do the same kind of thing. His the new kid on the block. That could be interesting. And then Sony, My Time to Shine. Hello, Moshko's favorite leaker, came out recently saying that Sony is working on an animated Venom movie, which we talked about last year. There was a rumor of Seth Rogen getting involved with an animated Venom story that we didn't know anything about. Well, now it might be to finish off the Venom story they never got to tell because Spider-Man 4 is now moving in a different direction. Could be cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool. Also nice seeing Seth Rogen take an actual comic character outside of like the indie books and stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Venom.
Yeah.
They'll check it out.
Will he still be attached to it though, since he has such big ties now with the Skybound stuff?
I think so. I don't think it would stop him. I don't think it's just for the one animated movie. I don't think it would stop him.
Yeah.
All right, another weird one, Werewolf by Night 2, potentially in the works, because the rumor is now that they're going to do a couple series leading into the Midnight Suns movie, with Mephisto being the main villain of that story, and then could tie into something like Ghost Rider. But the big thing here is the fact that Werewolf by Night 2 might get a sequel, which I would argue is one of the biggest sleeper hits of the MCU, period.
Yes. I'm yes, bring it on.
So it's supposed to be the main three characters coming back. Man-Thing, what's it called? Elsa Bloodstone. And then last little bit there, we've got some X-Men stuff. So let's just go through this real quick. Go ahead, Features. What's going on with X-Men?
Okay, so there is a new quote-unquote Age of Apocalypse type story arc that is about to drop soon. But it is called the Age of Revelation. So the explanation behind that, for those who are unaware or stopped reading X-Men very in the middle of Krakoa era.
Why don't we just say the best news of all and just lead with that? They're closing X-Men as it currently stands for this, and this will be the ongoing X-Men for a while, which kudos, Marvel, for seeing the writing on the wall.
I don't know.
It's like you and 3 other people that are reading that book.
But then they're doing a thing that I don't want them to do by creating more X books that I might not even care about.
Well, this is because it's the 30th anniversary of Age of Apocalypse, so that's why they're doing a string of these. It's Amazing X-Men, Unbreakable X-Men, right?
Yeah.
Last Wolverine, Laura Kenny Sabretooth. That sounds interesting.
That's cool.
Undeadpool. That sounds kind of cool.
Nice.
I'm into that. Iron and Frost. That could be kind of cool. Cloak and Dagger's getting a book. Rogue Storm, it's called. That's kind of cool. We don't know much about these books.
Yeah.
We just know that these are things they're working on. Radioactive Spider-Man.
Expatriate X-Men?
X-Vengers?
Well, you're not from your home country. That's what that word means. So yeah, and who knows? Maybe it's going to be great, but it's going to probably be better than what's been going on with X-Men. So hey, I'm into change at this point. Let's go ahead and just get that. All right, what did you guys think of Dexter? Did anyone get a chance to watch Dexter Resurrection? I know, Moshko, I know you did.
Big 2 thumbs up.
Good.
Dexter's even bad Dexter is good Dexter. Like,
Yep, that's exactly how I felt at the beginning of the show. I was like, that's a stupid intro, but I love it. Little spoiler alert. I wasn't like the surprise mop when that came out. I was like, I thought I would be happy to hear that line again, and I felt like it was too shoehorned in there.
No.
But I loved Baptista and him, and then him wondering if it's still a hallucination. I thought the way that the dynamic between the two of them was really exciting. I didn't care about the Uma Thurman reveal. I need to know more because it just felt like it. I feel like they could have just waited until they actually introduced them into a bigger element of the story. I felt like that scene was a little wasted. It was mostly
There's
just
a John Wick element to this.
Yes, it does feel like that.
Yep.
And I like Harrison. I liked Harrison.
Yep.
I thought Harrison was really. I mean, I liked him in the last show. I know a lot of people didn't, but I really liked him in the first episode.
I love the detective. She's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, she is.
It was very. I forget the name of the character, but Willem Dafoe from Boondock Saints. It was very much.
They're in New York now.
Pulled right out of that movie.
Yes.
It's a great
But the way she was like, there's 240 different tests that can be, or what, the bodily fluids. The guy's like, well, there's only like 3, and then she rattles off like another 20. I was like, okay.
So yeah, that's a win. That's gonna be every week. There's
Oh,
no question that that's the show I'm the most excited for. So expect recaps on that one because I have a feeling that that's not going anywhere.
Yep.
And then Buzz, I know you're the only other Sunny fan on this show to my
it's a
degree.
shame.
I know. Well, Features is. I don't know
Yeah.
if Moshko is.
I
But
can't even recall ever seeing an episode.
that's such a shame.
It's crazy.
That's such a shame. I feel like I
Wow.
feel bad for John and not liking Superman. I now feel bad for you and Sonny because that first episode of Sonny with not the first episode. The first episode was okay. It was another crossover episode with Abbott Elementary.
Yeah.
It was pretty
That
good.
was cool. That was cool.
It was pretty good. But it wasn't the second episode. Ooh.
Frank's in a coma. Yeah.
Frank's in a coma was a winner.
It was like all the best tropes for Always Sunny in one episode.
Yeah.
And I can't even quote it or it'll ruin the gag.
Right.
But it was very, very funny. So I'm happy it's back. It's worth your time. Let's move on over into comics. Did anyone read anything of interest?
I picked up that new Toxic Avenger, checking that out. Basically,
Was it good?
You
I
know,
liked the
you know,
first two.
I like the idea of like a toxic waste superhero from New Jersey because I grew up in the '80s. But the art's very unusual. The story they've moved into a different direction where it's like affecting more people and there's more toxic characters. So I think that's pretty neat.
Well, they last episode. Jeez, the last issue I read, it was his buddy or no, his bully.
Yeah,
His
his
bully
bully.
gets doused in it and he
Yeah.
becomes gigantic.
Yeah, yeah. They pick up on issue 1 here. I guess they're going to do like an ongoing. Maybe it's doing well. It's a little bit of a smaller company with it's like Comics Ahoy or something like that.
Oh yeah,
but,
Hoy Comics.
yeah. It's a cool style. I mean, I think I'm going to keep checking it out because I like the character and I just want to support it.
I mean, that's going to sound weird, but don't get the book that has the baseball card in it
Okay.
because it smells like toxic fumes. when
Ooh,
you open it.
they're
It
doing the
smells-
sniff of
I
scratching
don't- when
sniff.
right, it feels like it. It feels like it because it is. Yeah,
There it is. All
It's
right.
got a stink to it. Don't-
I just got the blanks. Honestly, I didn't
Now
pick
I
up
can't
that
read it.
You're a smart man with your blanks. What a brilliant idea that is.
Yeah.
Read the blanks. So that way you can always draw something
Oh, yeah.
and move it later. Look at you.
Yeah, yeah.
A
Double my
marketing
effort.
genius over there.
Double my
Nice.
efforts.
Yeah, that was it was a book.
It's not a great. It's not like
It's
blowing,
not the
it's
best.
not blowing my mind. It's not what I would do if I was going to work on the book. But I mean, I'm going to support it.
Yeah, that's how I felt while getting the first couple. All right, well, Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, the Rite of Spring finally came out. This was a
And
beautiful
Death of
read.
Fall
No,
and
not
Hotness of Summer.
I mean, we could go in that direction.
And
Definitely
jumping
go in
with
that
spring.
direction. We talked about this on New Comic Book Day about how one of the victims' sister is hunting her brother down, and that obviously Samantha was the one who killed him. But the big spoiler alert, big twist of the first issue is that she gets word to check out I think it's Woodbrook is where they live or where it all takes place, and it turns out Samantha is the one who told her to show up. So the book ends with Samantha sitting in the car with her, like, "Oh, by the way, I'm the one who called you. I know where your brother is." I love that. I did not direction I thought they were going to take it. If you're into Dexter, this is a book you should be reading. This is a Dexter book. You might not seem it, but this book is. If Dexter ever had a children's book, because the art absolutely feels like a children's book.
Oh wow!
But then people are dismembered, and like here's the first page. That's the done.
Wow!
So it's a really cool book. It's worth a read. So that was fun. Anyone read Archie and Jay and Silent Bob?
I missed it, but I want to check it out.
I got 10 pages into it, and I'm like,
no good.
I didn't even get to the point where, wait, what's it actually called? It's called
Kevin Smith presents
Archie
meets Jay and Silent Bob.
I didn't even get to the point where they met Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh wow! Yeah,
it was just.
It's more about Randall than it is about Jay and Silent Bob.
Well, it was 10 pages of regurgitated jokes from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it was all the same.
It's Kevin Smith.
No, I know. It's. I don't know. Maybe it's.
I
like
love that man, but that's like he's playing the hits.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was just so on the nose, and it was nothing new to me. It's like, oh,
it's an Archie book. It's just so everyone can see the cover of what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
this is
supposed to be a
breaking,
fun read.
This is not breaking new ground.
Well, the thing that did break ground, and I thought was clever, was how was it? Who's is it Veronica Jones? How they tied her to Alyssa Jones being related.
Mm-hmm.
That I found clever, but after that, it was like
the book's not all that clever. I mean, they find reasons to go to Riverdale, and while they're in Riverdale, Jay and Silent Bob are very Jay and Silent Bob. I love the fact that Riverdale has better weed than Jay and Silent Bob have. And it's the first time that they've been stoned in a long time is when they go to the Riverdale concert of the Josie and the Pussycats, and then they meet the Riverdale River Dealer.
Awesome.
Wow.
They were like, there's no weed that's ever going to get me high. And then the next thing you see, all of them are. So he had a lot of fun. You can tell with writing it. And if you look at it any other way than this is like a short you would find at the beginning of a Kevin Smith movie, that's all this is.
Is it a one shot?
It says number one. It says one on it. I can't see them doing more.
Pages,
it's a full story.
Annual.
Yeah. I don't.
Well, they crossed everybody over. They did Predator and Archie at one point. So
Sonic.
Archie did
Punisher.
Archie Afterlife when he was a zombie.
Well, that's what made it all popular again was the Afterlife stuff, and that's how the Riverdale got the show.
I'm pretty sure they did a Sharknado Archie.
Yes, they did.
Pretty sure they did. So yeah. Let's not give too much credit to
Sharknado.
I also read Fantastic Four: First Steps, which is a pseudo origin of the Fantastic Four for the movie.
That's what I thought.
Which was pretty interesting. It's not the greatest story. It does give you a better idea of how the characters will be represented. Okay. It is the story of the Mole Man and how Reed and them deal with the Mole Man because he's pissed off, and the reason why Giganto comes out of the ground and stuff is them working on the Baxter building is causing seismic vibrations in his society underground, and it's causing a rift between them and the surface dwellers, and that causes them to want to start a war. And the whole book is them trying to fight off the Mole Man and him trying to advance on the surface dwellers. But then at the end, it's all about Sue trying to figure out a diplomatic way that the two societies can live together. So it's not about punching anyone by the end of it. And you can tell that's what they mean, that Sue is the heart of the story.
Okay.
And we keep hearing that Sue's going to be the backbone of the movie, so on and so forth. You could feel it in the book, and it's done very well. And by the way, Mr. Johnny saying, I'm not going to be a womanizer, remember that?
Yeah.
That's not necessarily true, at least from this book. It's not that he's a womanizer. He's just definitely very flirtatious, like you would expect Johnny to be.
As he should be.
And I love that they do this throughout the whole book. They keep making fake ads, and you can join the Flaming Hearts fan club.
The Flaming Hearts.
For all the people who love Johnny Storm. But the whole comic is filled with fake ads from this universe. And it's supposed to be stories from the Fantastic Four. So it's a fun read if you're interested in the movie and you're excited to find out more about it.
Are the characters in the book, do they look like the actors at all?
Yes. Yeah, here I'll show you.
Okay. So what does Mole Man? Does Mole Man?
Oh, Mole Man is the dude. What's his name?
Definitely Paul Walter.
No
Hauser.
question.
Who?
No question.
Paul Walter Hauser.
Let me find
Oh,
him.
right.
Definitely looks like him. Oh yeah.
No question. That's it.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah.
That's it.
See,
It's
that,
cool.
that
That's-
was kind of silly. They shouldn't have released it.
Yeah, I was
no,
gonna
I
say
think
it's like
that's
this is
fine.
like the first time they've done that, right? Where they've like tied in a comic.
This ties into that ad more than it ties into the actual movie. Because remember, the ad actually shows Giganto coming up.
Yeah.
What was that ad? Was a car ad or something? I forget what it was. What's the one of the thing? Yeah, here you go. Here's a much better shot of him. Yeah, no question. That's
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah, no
I mean,
question.
they did so well. Like it's you still can't see like on IMDb or wherever. He's still not on as the Mole Man.
Because he's not going to have a big role.
Yeah, I think that's a
all that is.
flashback. In that
I don't think
movie.
it's going to even be a flashback.
No?
I think there'll be somewhat of a montage because I mean that was the rumor for a little bit, and then we'll probably see him in that, and them defeating him in some way, or meeting with them, or somehow have to talk to him about something for whatever reason. But it's not very much like Superman's a little convoluted with the amount of side characters that they have that don't feel very fleshed out. This movie can get away from doing that or having that problem by elaborating more in these. So you could move right on from Mole Man to get into the Galactus story and to Shah Ball, and it'll probably be them taking out Mole Man in the beginning and thinking everything's great, and then Shah Ball shows up. Like it's probably, and that's par for the course for comics. It usually starts with the end of an altercation that leads us into the beginning of the next story.
Yeah.
So that's more than likely what that's going to be.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's fun for what it is. And it does give me a better idea of how the team dynamic, like I really like Ben yelling at everybody. That's like the uncle, like they're all kind of arguing and Ben's like, everybody shut up. So the family dynamic is definitely there. Reed being the overthinker is definitely there. So I'm excited to see how they portray everything.
Did Red Ghost show up in that book?
No.
No. Okay. I was gonna ask if he was drawn like John Malkovich.
No.
All right.
No, but isn't there? I heard there was also a rumor that John Malkovich was.
They took him out of it, didn't they?
No, I heard he was older Franklin.
Older Franklin. I thought he was a Red Ghost. Okay.
Yeah. We mentioned both
Yeah.
over the course of this wonderful show.
Well, best book by far, Absolute Superman.
Hooah!
No question, by far the best book.
Hooah! Magic Mind.
It works.
He's amped yet calm.
No stress.
Yeah, it's not a big reveal. It's more. I mean, I saw he got shot in the last one, and it's him dealing with that. But I think the standout in this was Lois Lane.
Yes.
Lois, the scene with Lois and Ra's al Ghul, and Lois just knowing everything he's about to say, and then putting a knife at his throat. I was like, ooh. And then Ra's al Ghul, like, go ahead, slice my throat, and I guarantee I get up in the morning. You
Right.
will not.
He clearly had Magic Mind before he retorted. Just way too calm.
Let me get one.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you, man.
All right. Let's see. Last couple that I got: Transformers 22. It's okay. They're all really good. This is the problem with being 22 issues into a really good book, is that even when it's really good, it starts to kind of just be really good, and that's a terrible thing to say about something that you're enjoying.
Uh-huh.
They all are just starting to feel samey.
Hawk's like that right now because they're in like 26 or something or 27.
Yeah,
it's great and the art's phenomenal, but it's like another
plateauing.
phenomenal drawn book. Yeah,
Just-
like
Can-
you got to
like,
change
well,
it.
Yeah, get me to a different arc, because it
Yeah.
seems
Yeah.
like the arc has not evolved or changed at all from this. It's just the same fight. It's just now that Megatron's here. You know what I mean? Like the change is more that they keep adding new people or new elements, and less that the actual plot is changing.
Break out the Mushroom Band.
Yeah, I just canceled Daredevil.
Spider-Man Incursions, pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Wasn't bad. Not great. I'm more excited to see next week or next issue with the X-Men.
Yes.
Like how they're going to put that version of the X-Men in an actual comic book is going to be interesting. And not the manga-esque inspired book that we got before. Now, to be fair, I haven't read it since issue 12, so it could have changed. But yeah, it's nothing great, it's nothing special, but it's obviously this is the catalyst to everybody meeting. That's what this whole thing is.
Yeah.
This whole thing is a way to merge them all together because they all talk about meeting Spider-Man in the beginning of the book. And he's known as the Jersey Spider-Man, so they all kind of know about each other. I read a little bit of the... I know I showed it before. I read a little bit of this. It's so long, I did not get through. I finished Jay and Silent Bob, but didn't finish this. I'm about halfway through. It's pretty good. It is just one of the biggest comics I've ever owned. I've got now 3 of these, and I hate them, so I don't know why they keep making them this size. But it's about a alien that comes to Earth in this big robotic suit. Superman takes him out pretty easy, and he's like, this is a little weird. Why is that so easy? This should have been much harder to deal with. And then he hears a faint radio call from space, and they're like, all right, well, that's got to be who's controlling it. He leaves, and the moment that he leaves, all of a sudden, all these ships show. Well, let me make sure I'm talking the mic. All these ships show up. You can see there, and they wreak havoc on everybody. Like,
wow!
Everybody just starts getting mollywopped right after that. I mean, everybody.
Wow!
Cities collapse. So that's about as far as I got, though. So I don't know how it is, who it is, what it is, why it is, but I'm enjoying what I've read so far. Although I can't guarantee I'm going to finish it before next week. Something tells me as soon as Tuesday rolls around and the next week's books are out, this is just going to get lost in the read pile.
It happens to half my stuff.
Dude, the read pile is nasty right now. It's so tall. The 2 read pile is getting too big. I took a week off, and that was like the worst thing ever. Was trying to keep up with these books. So much, too much, and it's for the love of you all, and Magic Mind.
And
make sure you use our our link. All right. Anybody else?
Increase your focus and allow you to get through that stack of books.
Yeah, actually, probably should have taken it before trying to say that last sentence. Anybody else have any other books?
Yeah, I got a few I can rattle through right quick. I read Darkstalkers and Street Fighter. If you are a fan of the games, this is the book for you. Outside of that, it is just a fun read with a story that doesn't really explain much.
So no one on the show.
Yep. Magic, which is a series that for me has been continuously getting.
I hear a lot of people say it's great.
It is. It's really good. But again, if you're into the occult section or the supernatural parts of Marvel, Magic is a good starting piece for you. You get to learn more about Illyana and her relation or attachment to Limbo. Like, even now, she not only has that big glowing soul sword, but she now also has a rapier as well.
You know, every time he doesn't say it right, it just it sends a chill through my spine. Soul sword? And by the way, we're saying soul and then sword. Soul sword?
But
Can you use that to eat salmon?
Yes.
It's salmon. It's salmon. He cuts it with his knife.
All right.
On Wednesday.
Oh, it's Wednesday. Okay?
Wednesday.
And then finally, I did read the Uncanny X-Men 17. It's
Sorry.
It's okay. They've come across this movie that's showing in town about. It's supposed to be about a mutant killer, and then the story arc behind it is this slander and what's the general overall perception of this movie and now how people are feeling about mutants. Some of the kids go see her, and it turns out she actually really does hate mutants. So it's not just an act for her, and she's trying to kill them. To be continued.
Wow. Yep. I feel like I missed a lot there. Thank goodness one of us is reading it. Thanks for doing the Lord's work for us, Features. I appreciate you.
I try my best.
Appreciate you out here doing the heavy lifting for us. You got that. Moshko had Daredevil. You know, I don't know what I have. I should have taken a Magic Mind. I'm losing it. The John interview went on too long. I'm running out of steam.
Well, the good news is you can take it all week and let us know how you tackled the week.
I will.
On
I
the
will.
next show.
I will. I'll take a couple more of these. I love my shot of turmeric.
Turmeric.
All right. If we're starting to talk about turmeric, it's time to end the show. It's time to end the show. You can find the show at That Comic Podcast everywhere online. It's at That Comic Podcast, your social media choice, unless it's Twitter and or X, which is That Comic Pod. But yes, thatcomicpodcast.com is the best place to go. You will find everything there, as well as make sure if you are looking for any kind of prints, if you're looking for original sketch covers, if you are looking for fucking tattoo, do I know a person for you?
Hey now. See me over at Instagram at BuzzCorpse.
Definitely. Hit him. You can tell us, and then we will hold it over his head. Tell us. Don't go to his page. Tell our page. And then we'll go, see Buzz?
Send it.
Yeah.
And don't forget, if you're watching us on YouTube, smash that like button.
Oh, no.
Subscribe.
At first, it felt like satire. Now it's starting to feel real.
I know, right?
At first, that felt like a joke.
Takes a couple weeks.
Now it's like, and smash that like button. Hit the bell so you don't miss any notifications.
This one's also real. Make sure you head on over to magicmind.com/comicpod50 and also use the code comicpod50 for any purchase you might make on Magic Mind.
Yeah.
I think I need more.
Get a couple and join me on whether or not this is actually going to change my morning routine. I've got about 24 more to go. So we will see. Well, I got 23 more to go. I promised Buzz one.
Yay. I'm curious.
All right. That's it. I got to stop. I'm going to fall asleep.
Excelsior.
That's that, huh?